Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka BLitz, and this is the STB1. And this is Matty High, one of my subscribers and all-round good humans who was good enough to send in a replay of the STB. I've got 3 replays for you today. I've got the Matty High replay. I've got magnificent Meadsy, my mate Meadsy, the contributor. If you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, you probably should. And Fake Shockish, he's a platoon mate on a game on Falls Creek, all driving the wonderful STB1. And look, the reason I'm doing this review is I really, really like this tank, and I do quite well in it, and I've always loved the way it works. But for some reason, I've found the best gun depression medium money can buy right now to be the M48A1 pattern, at tier 10 anyway. And I was very interested to actually, for my own edification and my own purposes, to watch some other games by people who are very, very good in the STB1. And I spotted straight away there were a few commonalities throughout all the games. There were a few things that were germane to every single game, and that I really, really enjoyed. And I want you to watch out for them too, because this is less a review of the tank and more a tactical walkthrough of a vehicle that is, look, let's just say it. Let's get it out there in the open. I want everyone to realise that this is a little bit of an adult thing to say, but gee, it's a sexy looking vehicle. Like, the chassis is based on the Leo 1, but the turret's just this lovely, sleek, low profile feat of Japanese engineering, and it really does look spectacular. It's a terrific looking tank, and it's one of the reasons why it's so popular. Is you look at this tank on the battlefield and it draws the eye. It really does. Look at it. There it is over there. Firehawks 1979 running the STB1. And for that reason alone, a lot of people want to drive it. Quite apart from the fact that it is a very solid tank. And indeed, it's a spectacular tank when driven well. And you're going to see that today. My mate Matty High is stuck up on the top of the mountain here. What I noticed most of all with all these videos is how often these guys got the tank hull down. And that was surprising to me, because some of the videos are on maps where, well, all 3 of the videos feature a lot of hull down work. Meadsy's in particular, because he is on mines and he contests the hill, he front lines the hill in an STB1, which is pretty impressive in and of itself, but it's something that we'll get to anyway. But I mean, you can see here, when the tank isn't hull down, as Matty High is in that horrible position there, it takes a fair flogging, because the chassis isn't just based on the Leo 1, it's basically the chassis of the Leo 1 in terms of armor profile. It's absolutely pants. And so Matty High does what any self-respecting STB driver would. He looks for opportunities to stick it in a position where you can't hit the chassis and you can only hit the turret. And that's interesting. A little bit of a lag out there. Sorry, boys and girls. Can't be helped. Happens even on the big jobs. That's interesting, because as turrets go, it's a good turret, but it's not spectacular. And yet, despite it looking fairly pennable on paper, it actually does really well in game. And you can see Matty High here is basically just being an absolute grub. He is dragging people to this FV215B183, which might not look that exciting on paper, but this is a super effective tactic when you're up massively on cap points and they've got to roll in, and you just keep fighting them directly in front of the biggest gun in the game. And the first time I watched this replay, I thought he was doing it accidentally, but he's not. He's running around in very close proximity to that 183 on absolute purpose, and it ruins the other guys. And it's actually a really, really good use of the resources at your disposal. So 5,000 damage there from Matty High. Very good game. Nice, solid effort all round, and a good work, a little bit of teamwork at the end. That's a bit blurry, that screen. Sorry about that. That's all I had to work with. 3,000 damage from that 183 and 5k from the STB. That's what got it done. Now we're going to look at a far more stock standard perspective of an STB1. Hull down. Now, the turret has a big weak point on top in the hatch. That's a given. Most of the turrets that you have in game, very few of them have no hatch as a weak point when they've got very strong turrets, which is a little bit odd, I know, but some of the hatches are smaller than others. STB1s is about middle of the road. Where the hatch becomes harder to pen is when you get it onto the ridge of a hill like this, and the gun has to point down using its 10 degrees of gun depression, you actually minimize that hatch. And that's one of the things that young players who just get to the game, and by young I mean in terms of experience at playing the game, don't really understand. If you get a tank up on top of a hill, so it has to use its gun depression to point down, it does very well. That A100 there has crested the hill to get his gun down and has got an absolute flogging for it. Meadsy is in Meadsy 69, the magnificent Meadsy 69 is in a tank that has a lot of gun depression. 10 degrees of gun depression is pretty much the pinnacle of a tier 10 tank. So, well, it is the pinnacle. You're not going to get more than 10 degrees of gun depression at tier 10. And because of that, as he looks down over the crest of the hill and peeks over, he accentuates the angles that they can see from his exceptionally well-sloped turret, and that means that he takes less damage. He is far more likely to bounce a shot. And because of the low profile of the STB1, because the flat, sexy turret is so close to the top of the chassis, and there's so much less clearance than, say, on a Leo 1 or an M48A1 pattern, you get a very, very thin line of turret available to shoot at when he peeks over the top of the hill. And this is textbook stuff. This is textbook. And it's not an impervious turret, though. You can see there, that's a 468 damage roll from an IS-7, which is not the world's best gun in terms of armor and profile. And as Meadsy negotiates the tough stickers that is the Jagdpanzer and the E100 over here, taking his little space of paradise and trying to get shots in, you can see he's now starting to use his teammates. I love this. He waits for everyone to fire at these guys, pokes out, blows that shot there on the 62A. He'd be kicking himself for that, and then takes a far more, well, it's a far more conservative role here now. He's blown all his hit points. He played very well at the start, blew his hit point pool, but knows enough to actually pull back and actually pull off the mountain, which is one of the best things I like about this replay. He spends his hit points unwisely at the casino, gets blown away, and then works hard for the next couple of weeks till he can go back and try it all over again. And you can see here, that's exactly what he does. And that AMX 5120 does the exact opposite. He cops a flogging and then just tries to flank around with no hit points. Meadsy copped a flogging, pulled off the hill, and started using the tank again. Note to young players, look where the Meads is. He is hull down, and as he goes around this corner, he angles up his chassis so that if that 263 pushes on him, you will see if he pushes on him, he's going to have the steepest angle possible for Meadsy to bounce the shot. So let's see if that works for him. Look at the angle. Look at the angle this 263 can see. Just a really steeply sloped upper glacis, and Meadsy gets the super clutch Spartan bounce. And that's it. That's pretty much, that's it. That's where all the love happened. Those two sections of gameplay. And that's the STB in a nutshell. If you are unwise with it, if you treat it like a hull down heavy when you get a little bit cocky and a little bit too confident, you will get flogged. And rightly so. Because it's a type of turret that works best when it's awkward and only viewed for very small sections of time. And Meadsy was blowing everyone up, and then his teammates decided to push over the crest of the hill. And if you watch that shot back that Meadsy missed on the 62A, you'll see that the auto-aim button starts tracking to the right of the target, and that's why he missed the shot. I'll guarantee you that right now. It tracks to the mouse that is on the right of the 62A, and then as he jerks it back, he doesn't have time to aim it in before he cops one from the 62A, and is in then severe hit point distress and has to retire. So that's textbook. Absolutely beautiful play by Meadsy. 6,225 damages, 4 kills. Really works the hit point pool to its fullest. And here we have Meadsy featuring again as the wingman to Fake Shockish on Falls Creek. Firstly, let's get this out of the way. This is not the super aggressive position you might think it is. Easy scout medal. Exactly. Now, this is funny because he says this. They had no mediums, the opposition team. So the STB1 has incredible view range. It's got the best view range you're going to get at tier 10. And it's one of the reasons it used to be featured a lot in competitive play before the pattern got buffed, was that its ability to go semi-hull down well and spot lots and lots of targets meant it was featured by the best esports teams in Blitz. And that was a legitimate reason to drive the tank. It's kind of had that niche taken, but watch Shockich here. He's done a really good job figuring out where the enemy is going to be, and now he's going to continue to be fairly aggressive here. He's going to make some trades with his IS-7. He takes one and gives two back, and then baits the IS-7 again to come around that corner. He knows he's got some help there, and he is hull down, and he's presenting his level best armor profile, and once he gets that IS-7 into a shot, he gets a free shot back. Now there's a Jaegeru at the back. Shockich is not sure if he wants to chance that one. He gets a good quick snapshot into the Jaegeru, but he's not going to leave himself out there wide. He's been watching for the 183, and he's moving backwards and forwards. He's not giving that 183 an easy shot. The whole time he is doing this, he's doing the best impersonation of an STB profiling its best possible armor, and that is hull down on that slight incline where there is next to no chance for the guys to get easy shots at him. And now he sees a great opportunity. There's 4 Reds pushing on his teammates up in the corner, and he takes that chance to get behind this Jaegeru and steal all his hit points. And Meezy says Shock versus Shock, because the E100's name is Shock 1360. And like Highlander, there can only be one. And that's going to be fake Shockich here. He's doing a really, really good job of showcasing the tank. I mean, if you're looking for a game, 2 games in particular that showcase how it works, meat and potatoes, Meezy played it really, really well on mines, farmed up a bucket load of damage. Shockich has had a gift run here in terms of the team stakes, and I really like what he does here with the IS-8. Rather than trying to flee because he's low on hit points, he pushes into the hull down area. The IS-8 doesn't have the gun depression to deal with this, and Shockich is actually exploiting the weaknesses of the IS-8 and the strengths of the STB1. The STB1 can just burn that IS-8 down. He's got way more DPM, and he's now got him down as a one-shot because the IS-8 didn't get aggressive enough. He didn't want to make the trades, so he backed off a little bit, didn't push too hard, and he gave a very experienced player and a very solid tank the ability to go hull down and work him over. And this is just now gravy. This has been an exceptionally well-played game, and now the STB1 is going to push up, clear the bad guys, spend those hit points that he didn't have to spend on the IS-8 to put a couple of shots into the 263, and then use the house to trade damage for distance. Bob's your mother's brother, shows a little bit of butt, draws him in, gets the win. I really like that as a course to exactly the right way of playing the STB1. Hull down opportunity after hull down opportunity, even against the best, heaviest hitting kind of tanks you can find in the game, and not sticking in the same place all the time. Fire, move, fire, move, fire, move. You don't keep that turret very, very still. It's not an E5, it's not a T32, it's not a T29, it's not a T34. It's none of those things. It's not an IS-7. It is a tank that has a very, very good mobility to turret armor profile. You can move that thing around, get the gun depression working, and get the job done. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much, everyone, for contributing. Keep the replays coming in at bushkagaming@gmail.com. Include in the heading the term Blitz replay, the name of the tank, and a little bit of a description as to the damage and the reason it's going to work for me and why I should be featuring it. I want to thank everyone who's sending these replays in. If you're not seeing your replay, even if you send in an STB1 replay, it's because, man, there are like 800 replays in my inbox right now. So keep them up, boys and girls. I'll try to feature them as often as possible. And until next time, stay safe on the battlefield.